Hello, and welcome to the first or second breakdown of the Breakdown Eraserheads development series. My name is Travis, and thank you so much for joining me on my journey. This episode of the breakdown, we're going to be going over Dialog, the clip called Dialog. If you haven't seen this video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the description you can click the link and then watch the video in question. There's two, because there is a first part exported before the introduction was added to it, and the second part is with the introduction and some sound effects added to it. I wanted to display why I did this, but for the example, I'm just going to be going over the one with the introduction, kind of compile everything together. So this clip that I designed was the first time that I actually added in the intro and the basically the intro. It's the first time I added the intro, like a laugh track and everything like that. I don't really remember, but the whole point was to have like a cohesive kind of structure to a show, and I wanted to experiment with that on this one. So let's just go over to my computer screen and let's go over what you see first. So this is the first time you've ever seen anything like this ever. This is the exterior of where the show takes place. It takes place in a cardboard box on the side of a street in front of a store that has a constantly changing name, which it's called Skirts Hurt Pants Emporium for this clip, but in the future you'll see that it changes to something a little bit more timely, specifically on the Twitter or the Secrets episode or the clip that I've made. It's Skirts Hurt Pants Emporium. It's a joke because, you know, skirts hurt. It's a pun. And then you got it in the back, which is the clean the streets, graffiti for activism thing. This thing it's meant to be a really quick joke that you're not supposed to really, unless you pause the video, see and study. Otherwise, it's supposed to introduce where the show is taking place. So if you look here before the transition, it zooms in on the box. And some tips that I got from some of the people that watched this is that they had no idea where the show was taking place even after it cut in, because this looks like a wooden environment. So what they suggested that I zoom more into the box to kind of emphasize that's where you're supposed to be looking and that's where it's taking place. So I took that advice. So this is the first time I'd have. So on the previous episode, which was mouths, this one's called Dialogue. I wanted to further my understanding of how to interact with two people. Before, it was just a gray monster kind of babbling to himself, and then Redmond just reacting to it. Redmond does say words, he does interact, but I wanted to have two characters interact with each other, and to this point, I still have not drawn Yeldon, which is the second character of this series of whatever. So it's Redmond and Yeldon, but this one's called a green eraser, which is just what it is. So this is the first time I've experimented with camera angles. So in Adobe Animate, you can actually move a camera around. And here you can see that I've done a zoom in. So this is the first time I've done something like that to kind of introduce the scene. You know, it's very classic of a sitcom to want to do that. So it does that. And then it cuts in a little bit further. In my opinion, there's a little too much headroom. Like, why am I only staring at the bottom half of the screen? But that's obviously an improvement. And another thing is that this character is moving. So the first time ever, I've added kind of dynamic nature to this. So this character actually moves in with the camera. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of keyframed him to the left. To this point, I was still experimenting to myself. How are they move? Are they going to jump around? That doesn't make any sense. So my easiest thing was to slide. It seems kind of robotic, but I'm recording this in the future from when I made this. So I'm actually future Travis. So, you know, that's just the kind of what I was going with. I wanted to move them, and I wanted to add dynamics to the episode. Still too much headroom. The dialogue taking place here is actually, so you got one character who is really weird, and then you have Redmond who's reacting to it. So Redmond currently in this state is reacting to whatever this green guy is saying, and you can tell he's at a slight discomfort. But there's a lot of emotions that happen here. So when the smile happens, it kind of established that there's he's either nervous, depending on what the context is. But you know, there's little, if you kind of just get rid of the mouth and then just kind of put your hand over the screen and just there's not a lot of emotion. The mouth does a lot, and so does the blinking. So it's just kind of like a mixture of everything. I was just trying to combine blinking, mouth movement, pupil movement to express Redmond's kind of like at unease, which I think I was quite successful at doing this. And then of course this character, whatever this character is a modulated my voice, and he kind of just kind of reacts and then backs away. I thought that them actually moving around is kind of robotic, so I decided to play into the joke where he kind of just slides out of the frame, while Redmond is very uncomfortable. And then for this I actually added credits, which is just me, and then in the beginning the intro. So that's really the bulk of what this is happening. So the pupils of the green guy move, the mouth of the green guy moves, and just like the previous episode of the mouths one, if you haven't seen that, you can go ahead and just look at the channel. It's the episode before this. I had to keyframe every single thing in his mouth, which is a struggle, but it works. And this one actually has a chin, unlike any of the other ones. Nobody has a chin, but he has a small little like kind of under chin thing going there. And that's pretty much it. So let's reflect on what I actually learned. So showing this to my friends, I showed it to them as like it was the first time they had an interaction, and like most of the feedback from this was positive because this was the first episode or first clip that I was actually proud to show people. So as like a byproduct, I was like, wow, this is so great. There's an intro, which the jokes in the beginning didn't land, so it's kind of hard to show that the facade changes without actually showing multiple episodes. So they don't really respond to the introduction outside of the fact that they didn't know where it was taking place, so I had to change that. The introduction to the environment, there's way too much headroom. The framing is all messed up, and currently the jokes aren't really. So that was just a singular joke. It's just they said that maybe I can add more like development, like an arc. So like a setup, some exposition to the ideas that's happening, and then a closeout. So for this one, it's not really an episode arc. It's just kind of like a clip arc. If you have any other questions or maybe criticism on what you think I could add or change in this clip, to help improve what I do in the future, comment below. If you want to support what I do, just hit like or hit subscribe, and it'll boost my position in the algorithm or whatever. And I just want to create a happy, safe place for everyone and myself to develop this great thing that I'm trying to do. And I thought, what better way to do it than just to share it for free online for everyone to see. My name is Travis Flesher, and thank you so much for joining me on my journey. I love you.